Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you several articles. New York Post, Trump, cover-up of Hunter laptop had major role in his loss. That is an article about the obvious cover-up and suppression and censorship of a very important story, okay? This is the New York Post. Zuckerberg says Facebook censored the Post's Hunter stories because the Bureau warned of Kremlin misinfo dump. Okay. This is what Democrats and media do in unison, in concert with one another. What they do is, if there's corruption within the Democratic Party, if Bernie Sanders is cheated and Debbie Wasserman Schultz is forced to resign because emails show that they cheated Bernie Sanders and did everything possible to have Hillary win. And I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I'm voting for Trump because I want record highs in household median income, record low in poverty. 2019, we had a record low in poverty. You think Bernie would have gotten us to a record low in poverty? I thought that years and years ago, there's no way he would have with his policies. Because none of his policies would have passed Congress. That's a whole other story. They're still, they won't even vote on Medicare for all. Okay, that's the racket on the left, but that's a whole other story. We had record low in poverty, according to CNN and all the other data you can look at. A record low in poverty in 2019, record high in household median income. And he opposed Lincoln Project foreign policy, Trump. It is a moral imperative to have voted for Trump and to vote for Trump in 24. Okay? Unless you like never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts and a recession with inflation at around 9%, where people are happy if it goes down 0.1 or to 8.5%, but food prices go up. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But media has it out for one man. You have loyalists within the U.S. government having it out for one man. And so they're focused on Trump being the embodiment of evil. They can't find anything to indict him on. They might actually indict him simply because that's what the Democratic Party stands for now. It doesn't stand for anything else. They talk about the Dobbs decision, but they lost that. At that point in 2016, Bernie Sanders would have defeated Trump. They cheated the only person who could have defeated Trump. I said that Clinton would lose to Trump. Nobody believed me on the left. And that's what happened. Then they could have had 3 liberal Supreme Court justices, but that's a whole other story. They always do themselves in with their own corruption, and then they blame another country for informing you of their corruption. That's supposed to be a misinfo dump. So anything corrupt, illegal, that they do. So Clinton's emails, and they tried to say, well, George Papadopoulos knew about the DNC or Clinton's emails. Like, well, wait a second. The DNC cheated Bernie Sanders. Hillary had, and I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024. We need to relive 2016. We have to do that. But Hillary had top secret and special access program intelligence classified data funneled for 4 years onto servers, secret servers outside of the United States government. Okay? And then they're like, oh, we need an assessment of national security. It's like, are you kidding me? Where was the national security assessment? You had a lot more information on national security within, mixed alongside, siphoned out of the U.S. government and mixed with, like, personal emails. Yoga. Are you kidding me? Yoga and just personal emails. They say really foundation emails, but that's obvious. They had a graft machine just like Hunter and Joe. But if you look, so there's nothing to compare. Like an actual server, like secret servers, dedicated servers, siphoning classified data outside of the United States government in a manner nobody knows. So if you're a wonderful liberal Democrat, highly educated cybersecurity expert, can you explain to the world how Clinton was able to transfer or siphon or migrate top secret and special access program data through emails, through downloads or other methods from secure government networks onto her private secret network? running on servers that nobody in the U.S. government had access to, but she had access to everything within the U.S. government? You mean to tell me 15 U-Haul boxes are a greater risk to national security? You are lying if you say that. Putting like using your phone for one day as Secretary of State is infinitely worse than having 15 boxes locked up in Mar-a-Lago as a former president. Okay, but that's a whole other story. Here you have Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan saying, oh yeah, well, you know what? The Bureau sent us information, so a warning, so we had to go ahead and, we had to suppress the story. Hit subscribe, by the way, to this channel right now. We're going to zoom past 200,000 subs very soon. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel and H.A. Goodman's other channel. If you want to become a member, please do so of this channel. And I'll have a live stream tonight. So be here tonight for the live stream, probably around 9 p.m. Pacific. Be here tonight for the live stream, ladies and gentlemen, to my 6-minute crowd. But you have an issue where the United States, we are polarized as a country, not because of Trump Republicans. I don't care who my friends and family vote for. I don't care at all. It is the wonderful, morally superior, liberal Democrat, highly educated, moral individual in your life, whether it's a friend or family, who has probably disowned you because they are so obsessed with contempt and disdain for Trump. And they don't understand that Hunter had emails stating from the number 3 executive at the Oil and Gas Corporation in that country being invaded right now under Biden's watch, under the watch of mashed potato brains, for advice on how you can use your influence on the company's behalf. And you have one email, Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. Joe lied through his teeth. So Trump lied about crowd size. Like, go type right now if you're bored. And if you're a wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrat, type Trump's greatest lies. Okay? The media's lies are that he was in a hotel room and all that stuff, and he worked with the Kremlin, and his tax returns are the holy grail of corruption. All of this, these are all lies. They said they were going to be indicting Trump for the past 6 years. Okay? You could have easily indicted Clinton or Hunter. That's a cover-up. Even Comey stated it's below in the description. Although we see violations of legal statutes, no reasonable prosecutor would like, gee, well, you're just admitting the cover-up right there. What do you mean reasonable prosecutor? You have secret servers siphoning classified data. Are you kidding me? But I want a Hillary Trump 2024. It'd be fantastic. But nobody cares. Even when confronted with this, you see a wonderful, highly educated, very famous atheist, wonderful person, stating, even if he's getting kickbacks, it's not as bad as Trump University. What? What are you talking about? Trump University was not a criminal issue, nor was it a national security issue. You cannot have a government that's just accepting bribes and graft from anywhere on the planet. Your government will fall. That's how governments fall, through graft and bribery and being paid off to do things against your national interest. Okay? But you have then Joe bragging about withholding $1 billion in loan guarantees until a prosecutor gets kicked out of his country or of his position within his country. And it's just a coincidence, according to Rudy Giuliani and everybody around who's investigated this, that prosecutor was going to investigate that company. And oh, by the way, Hunter got an email saying, how can you use your influence on the company's behalf? I mean, you don't have to be Columbo. You don't have to be Perry Mason. You don't have to be like Sherlock Holmes to realize that, gee, you get an email asking for advice on how you can use your influence on the company's behalf, and then you get, 80 to 100 grand a month, and then Joe forces out a prosecutor. Do you think there's some connection? And then you get the public relations spin as always. The smartest people in the room disagree. And they've always known that that prosecutor wasn't doing a good job. It was actually an anti-corruption effort by Joe to force out a prosecutor who was allowing corruption to take place. I mean, these people convince themselves. You can be moral, highly educated, but if cognitive dissonance is the world you live within, if your decision making, if the paradigm that you adhere to is based on cognitive dissonance, when you are presented with facts, presented with emails that Hunter has, 150 suspicious financial transactions, emails showing Joe lied, where graft and bribery is I mean, kickbacks, no big deal. Trump University worse. What? How is that even possible? How can an educated, intelligent person, a brilliant person, think that Trump University, which was not a great story for Trump, but nothing compared to bribes and graft and kickbacks, nothing. How can anyone say, there's not a big problem? To stop Trump. Stop Trump from what? From record highs in household median income, record low in poverty, people doing better around the country in terms of feeding their families, buying clothes, being, financially independent. I'll take that and his mean tweets and the absolute apoplectic, hysterical meltdown of media and establishment Republicans and Democrats throughout the country. I'll take that. The only thing Trump ever did was insult the sensibilities of the DC establishment, and that's it. The meltdown from media, the way they coddle every Democrat, and the way they just salivate and get this Pavlovian response with their contempt and disdain for Trump, their hysterical reaction to Trump, that's what's caused the problem. That's why you have friends and family who disown the lifelong friends. For what? You're voting for Trump. Yeah, I'm sorry. I like record highs in household median income, record low in poverty, and somebody who doesn't engage in graft and kickbacks. Gee, sorry. What? It never happened. And now we get to Facebook. And now we get to the suppression. And now we get to forget about the fact when they find out the truth, they don't care. A lot of Democrats don't even know the truth. Because they're not given the information. They're only given the hysteria that feeds their existing contempt for Trump. They're not given the information these are the emails. They've never read any of Hunter's emails. They don't know. They don't care. They're completely ignorant. Ignorance is bliss when you have only contempt and disdain, and you have this revulsion. You're repulsed by Trump. Ignorance is bliss because you can feel that anger and righteous indignation towards him. Okay, you can feel that, and it probably gives them a sense of worth, or they feel so good. It's like a virtuous type of feeling. Trump, I oppose him. Congratulations. You've now sided with the Lincoln Project, very corrupt bureau officials, Hollywood, all the wonderful moral people in Hollywood alone. When you have Rob Reiner or great, Princess Bride was fantastic. He's done great things. Okay. They're great movies, but I mean, what does Rob Reiner's a millionaire? These people are millionaires. Trump, when we had Trump, like I said, we had hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs. See, when you put hysteria over actual real world issues, we were doing better objectively under Trump in 2019 than we are now. And in the last year of his presidency, the apoplectic coverage of you-know-what, blamed it all on him, and more people lost their lives under the first year of mashed potato brains. So there you go. But when they don't know anything other than contempt for Trump. And so when presented with a rational viewpoint and an argument that says, hey, the corruption is far worse on your side, the cognitive dissonance gets them into this rage that they can't possibly fathom that you don't have to like Trump. It's fine. I don't really care if someone does or doesn't like Trump. But if you can't accept basic facts like media has covered up like greater national security threats than anything Trump has ever done. That's not even an opinion. It is objectively worse to have secret servers siphoning classified data. It is objectively worse to have kickbacks that even they admit to and graft and bribery schemes than anything Trump has ever done. They're still trying to find out what he's done. Let's leave it at that. If he is such a horrible criminal, why haven't they found... We're investigating him. Really? For 6 years? What have you found? When have you ever investigated Hunter or Hillary for 6 years? The Clinton email investigation was a joke. They didn't do anything. We don't even know how she was able to siphon the top secret data onto unencrypted servers or servers that were unencrypted for a certain point. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. Trump wants the Bureau to investigate. Eventually, see, the thing is, 16 minutes in, when you say, well, that'll never happen, the leadership at these intel agencies, government agencies, always gravitates towards media and towards political power. The media was completely different 20 years ago. It could be very completely different 10, 15 years from now. And what Trump is doing is a complete paradigm shift in American politics. Okay, no counterinsurgency conflicts, long-term military quagmires, and a focus on American jobs, and that's a good thing. Hit subscribe to this channel right now, ladies and gentlemen.